Well, hello there. Welcome to Live with Lynn. So today I want to talk about one of my most embarrassing failures ever. This one was a doozy. We've all had failures, right? So, in the last couple of days, I've talked about being about not being afraid to take risks and letting the fear go and not allowing fear of failure to stop you and hold you back. I've talked about taking full responsibility for whatever happens. No matter whether it was your fault or not, it is your fault. You're responsible for it if it's something you're doing, right? We've talked about how failure is just a part of the journey and it's not going to kill you. Well, this one almost did. And Marcia, if you're watching, you're probably going to be rolling on the floor laughing about this one because you'll probably remember it very clearly. But this was back in my days when I was working at Giordano's. I was a buyer still. I had decided, I talked about this in another video, but our company put out a catalog every year, and it was a listing of all of our products. And it would say things like 5-pound sugar, 10-pound flour, blah, blah, blah. And the restaurants knew what that was because, they just know what that, what that is, right? But I always felt like when I took over the equipment and supplies department, I felt like they're not going to know what these products are. You can't just list a certain pattern of china and expect them to know what that is, or we have 6 different tables. How do they know what they look like? And so I decided that we needed an equipment and supplies catalog. That was a huge project, and keep in mind, I was still a buyer at the time. I still had my full buyer responsibilities. And this was, like I mentioned the other day, this is, when you want to become more, you step up, and I stepped up. So it was going to cost a lot of money to produce this catalog. So I went back to my vendors and offered advertising and sponsorships and all kinds of things to create the money for the catalog. Took me, 3-4 months, maybe more, to get the funding. And then I was working with a catalog company that does this for a living. In fact, these guys own the market. They were out of Colorado. They did equipment and supplies catalogs for every food service company. And they had a database of everything with images and everything. So literally all I had to do was run a query on our computer system, get a listing of all of our products, and send that to them in a spreadsheet. And then they were able to create our catalog for us. And this is not my catalog. This is a book by Lisa Wilbur, but I just want to show you this because it's an idea of what my catalog looked like. It was this size. So you're getting free advertising, Lisa, but it was this size. It wasn't a spiral bound, but it was probably about that thick, maybe 150 pages. And it had in it, it had china and had the pictures of the different the patterns we had of the china, and it had flatware, and it had the pictures of the different, what each of the engravings or whatever, the patterns on the flatware. And then it had things like, whole pages and pages of all of the different equipment and supplies things you needed, like cups and plates and cookie pans. And, the one thing I was the most amazed with by this company, which was really sad, was that they do this for a living. They have this database, and you would not believe how many errors there were. I would have a product that would say a sheet pan, and the picture would be a muffin tin, and I'm like, and so literally, they sent me their first proofs, and I proofed it, and I proofed it, and I proofed it, and I brought it home, and Richard proofed it, and my boss proofed it, and the sales manager proofed it, and even the general manager proofed it, at least from his viewpoint, maybe not line by line, but we proofed it, and we proofed it, and we proofed it. I think it took months and months and months of getting it to where we thought was perfect. There was typos in there. I was just shocked because I just thought this company, you would think over the years they would have corrected all those mistakes, because when people find mistakes, then they would fix them. But apparently they didn't go back and fix their database, which was really sad. But they were the only game in town. They created our catalog. And finally, we get our catalog, and like I said, it's about this size, and I think it's like 8.5 by 11 or whatever. And I am my boss is like, "This is your baby. You get to present this at the sales meeting." And so we had a sales meeting once. I can't remember now. It's been so long ago. I don't know if it was every week or once a month. But anyway, it was like, I think it was once a month. And it was a sales meeting. It was at a hotel. And, it was like very few women in the room. My boss was a woman. I was a woman. We had one other woman that was there, and I think one woman salesman. But there was probably 45, 50 men. These are all salesmen. They're all rambunctious. And they're all sitting there, and they're all really excited because they knew I was getting ready to announce this new catalog, right? So we had gotten this catalog. I had cases and cases of it. I was so excited, but I was afraid to get up and talk. I was afraid, what if they don't like it? It obviously was better than what we had before. So I get up there, and I'm presenting the catalog, and then from the back of the room, one of our salesmen, John, from the very back of the room, and I will never forget this till the day I die, he stands up and he yells, "Lynn, is this what Richard's telling you is 12 inches? I was like, what? I was so confused. Well, you know what? In the book, you had pages and pages of china and flatware and pans and cups and all that. But we also had some filler pages. So you might have a page like this in the back. This one says your notes and ideas. And it would have things like weights and measures. So 1 cup equals, or one ounce equals X number of tablespoons. It would be like charts to help them convert things. And on the very side was a ruler, and it was printed along the side. And a salesman could literally take a plate and just put it up to the ruler and say, that's a 5-inch plate. That's a 4-inch plate. So it made it really easy for them to know which one to order for their customer, right? And the girl that laid out this page, now keep in mind, this is a catalog company. They do this for a living. They do equipment and supplies catalogs. That's all they do. She decided that she would make the ruler look pretty on the page, so she reduced the size to make it look pretty. And so here's this 12-inch ruler that's like probably this long, maybe this long. Well, I didn't proof that. I spent months and months proofing this thing, and it never, ever occurred to me that I would have to proof the ruler. And so, I was devastated. Oh my gosh, I just wanted the floor to swallow me up. Here's this whole room of men laughing and jeering at me, saying, oh, ha, ha, look at what Richard's telling her is 12 inches. And I just thought I was going to die, literally. Now, here's another thing, though. This catalog costs $38,000 to print. Just the printing costs alone, $38,000. And I was just livid. I mean, the next day or later on, I get in the office and I'm calling the catalog company and I'm like, you need to reprint these. This is not acceptable. You need to reprint these. And they just laughed at me and you're out of your mind. We're not reprinting these. This is $38,000. If you want to pay for it again, we'd be happy to reprint them. And I'm like, but it's wrong. I can't give these out to my customers. And the catalog company, they said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll print a sticker that you can put on that page saying not to size. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to point it out. I'm not going to point it out. And here's the deal, this catalog was intended to be good for 2 to 3 years. That's 365 days times 2 or 3 before we were going to be printing another catalog. And I was just devastated. I mean, my company was good. Obviously, we were all in panic mode. My boss, me, we were all in panic mode. But you know what? We got through it. I didn't get the catalog fixed. The salesman just had to know they couldn't lean on that ruler. And I was the laughing stock for years over that. I think I'm still the laughing stock over that. But, so I think I pushed the next catalog. So I think it was like a year down the road, I was starting to push to re-get a new one going again. And so I got the second one out as soon as I could, probably 2 years instead of 3. But you know what? Mistakes happen. Failures happen. And I survived. I'm still here. I didn't lose my job. You never know. I could have maybe. But it was an honest mistake. And it wasn't even my mistake, but I proofed it. I signed the paper. I said, yes, it's good to go. And it is my responsibility. And I was director. I actually got promoted. I mean, I got promoted and was able to build my own marketing department as a result of that. So, hey, it was a step along the way, right? A very embarrassing step and a story to talk about for the rest of my life, and a story that the salesmen are going to talk about for the rest of their life. But I lived. I lived and I learned. And trust me, next time I checked the measure of that ruler and I checked everything. I didn't trust anything that anything was right. But you know, you learn, right? Anyway, hope you found that amusing. And I will talk to you later. Have a great day.